Hello, folks. Welcome to my channel. This is Bob, and if you haven't been to this channel before, this channel is a retirement journey from 63 to 65, and then the retirement that takes place afterwards as well. But right now, we're just concerned about the journey and how we're going to get there within the next 2 years to make that retirement enjoyable and comfortable. So last week, what we did was we sat down and we broke down income, we broke down expenses in detail, and went through quite thoroughly on what the income availability is and what the expenses will probably look like once I hit age 65. This week, what I want to do is just look at Social Security and try to decide if I want to take that at 65, 67, or 70. So that is what we'll be doing now. Okay, so let's start at looking at age 65. What is this going to look like if I start collecting Social Security at 65? So I've got three tables on here, 65, 67, and 70. We're going to look at the first one here, Social Security at 65. We're going to go over the columns real quick so you know what they are and what they mean. And all these tables are the same. The only difference will be how these numbers work out at the end. So let's look at the first year, 2027, the year I retire at 65. So there's my age. There's Melissa's age in the upcoming years. Here is the start balance of the portfolio, which is $500,000. Here is the growth, either negative or positive growth of the portfolio for that current year. Here is the amount of that growth in dollars. Fixed income, what this is at age 65, this will show you my Social Security, Melissa's Social Security disability / Social Security, and my pension from work, which is very small, but it is in here. And then the withdrawal from the portfolio. So when you're looking at the money here, you'll take the fixed income and you'll take the withdrawal. That's going to give us the net income after tax, because you'll minus the tax if there is any from this line, J. So that'll be $78,000. That $78,000 equates to $6,500 a month. And that's what I want to see for income as the years go by in retirement. After the withdrawal, you'll have RMDs, which is required minimum distribution. And those are distributions out of your portfolio that the government makes you take, basically, starting at age 73. And even if you don't want to take it out of the portfolio, the government makes you take a certain percentage out. Column J is taxes. So the taxes on the income that you are going to have to pay in that current year. And again, this is the net income after the taxes. And then L then is going to be your end balance of the portfolio of that current year. M is just showing you the spending inflated figures of the spending. So basically in 2027, you've got $78,000 that you're going to spend. And that $78,000 will equate to $128,000 that you're seeing down here 20 years later. So basically this $127,000 is the same as this $78,000 20 years previously. All right. Now that that's figured out, I also want to show you that on column E, this is the growth column, whether it's negative or positive of that current year on the portfolio. And I have, basically looked at this and threw it in there as a variable of what the up and down years may be like. Now, this is a little bit, I don't want to say it, it's a little bit pessimistic. As you can see, if you go and look at this as a whole, all 20 years, you're only getting a growth of 4.33%. The average market growth is per year is probably 10% over the last 20 or 30 years. So this is a little pessimistic, but it's still a growth of 4%, 4.3, and it gives us a little bit of cushion. Hopefully it'll do better than the 4.33, and we'll actually have a little more money in there than what we're going to be looking at. So at 65, let's just look at the first 3 years. Let's start off with the year 2027, which is the first year at 65. So we have in here a balance of 500,000 in the portfolio. That portfolio will lose 8% that year. That 8% amounts to $40,138. Fixed income, which is Social Security of mine, Social Security of my wife's, and a pension, will come out to about $59,000. Withdrawal that we'll need to get to this $78,000, which is $6,500 a month. So we'll have to withdraw $19,116 out of the portfolio to hit this $78,000. The ending balance of the portfolio at that time will be $440,746. So it's about $60,000 less than we started with. And that went down so much because we actually lost $40,000 in the market, and we withdrew a little bit more than 19,000 out of the portfolio for our income. So we lost, or it took that balance down to $60,000 to the $441,000 we're seeing there. So let's go to the second year. Second year, 2028, 66 years old. Starting balance then again is this number here. So it's $440,746. This year, it had a growth of 15%, the portfolio did. So the market did well that in 2028. That actually produced income, and the portfolio grew by $66,000. Fixed income was 60,154, and that's because this fixed income column will increase because I've included cost of living increases that come along with Social Security, and those work off the inflation number from the previous year. So if inflation goes up, hopefully and usually these cost of living payments, or the Social Security payments, will go up along with it. So you can see they increase throughout the 20 years. So then we'll have to withdraw the 19,800, and that gives us a net income of about $80,000, which again is going up the same as your fixed income and as you're spending inflation money, because you'll need more in income because the same amount of your spending will actually be higher as inflation increases as you go through the 20 years. So with that being said, the end of the second year, our portfolio is now at 487,000. So that went up $47,000 more than we had previously ended with on last year, on 2027. So we're actually only, if you take the 487 and then look at the starting balance of 500,000, we're now only 13,000 short of where we actually started with. So a good year all in all. And now we're going to go to our year 3. So we're going to take that $487,000 starting balance of the portfolio. Again, portfolio did well. The economy must be going good. The portfolio grew 8.4%, which in dollar amounts was $41,000. Fixed income, again, the same three sources for fixed income are all 20 years. So you got 2 Social Security payments, and then you've also got a small pension payment that's in there as well. Then you'll add your withdrawal of $20,500, and you've got a net income of $82,000, and that'll equate to the $6,500 worth of spending. Now, if you look at the ending balance there, it is now up of the portfolio, it is now up to $507,500. 3 years in, and you actually have more money in your portfolio than you started with. And that's with taking 20, 40, about $60,000, $61,000 out for income those 3 years. But you're still, because of the growth in the portfolio, you're still up to $507,000. Now, as a whole, then, as you look at 65, really what you're looking for is the ending balance. How far is this going to take you? So we're looking at 20 years, a 20-year retirement plan. So when you get down here to the 20th year, which makes me 85, Melissa 82, we got a balance of $57,000 in the portfolio. So again, we make it. There is not a whole lot there left, but we do make it. Again, when we look at this growth through the 20 years, it's only sitting as a 4.33%. Hopefully that'll be higher. Hopefully it'll be closer to 10%. But even if it's not 10, hopefully it'll be 6, 7 maybe. Anyway, hopefully this number is going to be bigger. But either way, we make it to the end of retirement at this point. Now, if I was to pass, or just say, so my life, we got at 85. If I was to pass at 85, Melissa is still here. At this point, that fixed income source would be, it would be my Social Security payment, which is the higher of the two. Her Social Security payment would actually go away out of there. So the only two income sources for fixed income would now be my Social Security payment and my pension. And that's what Melissa would use to live on, besides what's left in the portfolio that she could withdraw from. So her income will decrease, I would say, substantially, because, well, it won't be so bad, because her Social Security disability / Social Security payment's going to be, right now is sitting at $1,500, which isn't a whole lot, and she'll be able to claim mine, which is a higher of the two. So it won't be so bad. Okay, that's 65. Looking good. Wind up with $57,000 left. What does it look like if we claim Social Security at 67? Keep in mind, these first 2 years at 65, we're already collecting Social Security. The difference will be at 67, you see our fixed income is way down. The reason that's way down from 65 is because at this point, we aren't collecting Social Security yet. So we got to bridge the gap. So at the year 2027, first year of retirement, and 2028, the second year of retirement, every bit of money we've got is going to come out of fixed income, of course, and then your withdrawal from your portfolio. But the fixed income for the first 2 years is going to be Melissa's Social Security payment and my pension. So it's cutting about half, little more than half, to tell you the truth. So we're going to have to bridge that gap between 65 and 67, 67 being the year we do claim Social Security. We're going to have to bridge that gap by withdrawing more from the portfolio. So if you can see here, in the first year at age 65, we're going to withdraw 51,500 from the portfolio. In the second year, we're going to withdraw 53,000 from the portfolio. As soon as we start claiming Social Security at age 67, you can see that withdrawal from the portfolio goes all the way down to 17,000. Now, here's the cons of waiting. So we retire at 65. We wait till 67 to claim Social Security. We still need the income, so we have to withdraw it from the portfolio. Withdrawing from the portfolio these amounts within the first 2 years, we also are going to have to pay taxes, higher taxes. And that's simply because we took this money from the portfolio, which was pre-tax money. So we have to pay taxes on it when we pull it out. So we'll end up paying those taxes as well. This is going to be the net income after we pay the taxes. And when you look, since we withdrew so much money from our portfolio in those 2 years, even though we hit a 15% growth in the second year, we still only have a balance of $416,000, $417,000 on our balance of our portfolio at the end of the second year. So we're down about $82,000 from the original 500. Now the pro here is that not only is your Social Security payment higher for the rest of your life right now, it is also showing that you are not going to be withdrawing as much out of your portfolio to reach your net income that you wanted once you start collecting Social Security, since your Social Security payment is now higher. So the third year, let's look at that real close. The third year, 2029, we withdrew 17,000 out of our portfolio to get to our net income figure of 82,000 here. So that's 17,000. How much did we withdraw at 65 the third year? 20,500. So that's 3,500 more we withdrew out of our portfolio in this age 65 scenario than we did in the age 67. And the reason for that is our Social Security payment is higher now. Now, the all important number, the end balance, this is showing we actually have more money at the end of our 20 years in our retirement account, in our portfolio, I should say, than we had in when we looked at this scenario for withdrawing Social Security at 65. So that's good. So age 65, we had 57,000 at the end of the 20 years. Age 67 scenario, we have 64,000, which is a little bit higher. Not much of a difference, but it is higher, and you have a higher fixed income for until you die at that point. So this is telling me right now 67 might be the wise choice. Again, there's going to be some people who look at this and they very, very well be right. If this is actually a 10% growth, 11% growth, something like that through these 20 years, then maybe you would have been better off going with age 65, because when the less you take out of your portfolio at the beginning, the more compounded interest you're going to get because you're playing with higher numbers. But here you see your ending balance from the first year is 408. 15% growth, you're up to 417. Those 2 years bridge the gap till Social Security. Then an 8% growth, you're up to 434. And then you start going down a bit because you hit a 13% negative growth, a 2% negative growth, and you hit a 15% growth again. That takes you up to 366. And once you hit 73, so once I hit 73 right here, they are going to make me start taking a required minimum distribution out of my portfolio savings accounts. And those are going to be in addition to what I'm already withdrawing to get to my net income after tax. So with that being said, like the year I turned 73, which is 2035, I will not only have that much money. So we're looking at, let's see here. Let's see, 73, we're looking at $95,000, but you'll actually be adding on the $8,900. So you'll have a total income that year of $104,000, whereas you're budgeting only 95. At least in this scenario, that's what you're budgeting. So you'll have more than you're actually going to spend, unless you decide to spend it. You can save it in some other account, whether it be a money market, a savings account, CD, whatever. But it'll be there. And for the rest of your lifetime here, then I will be withdrawing more out of my portfolio simply because there is required minimum distributions. So they're combining the withdraw and the RMD, the required minimum distribution. That's the amount they're going to make you take out. So $30,000 basically you have to take out no matter what. So you're going to take out the $21,000 that you need, and the $8,900 that's just there. So now you got money in your hand. What do you do with it? 67 scenario looks good. You're coming out $64,000 ahead, or I shouldn't say ahead. You're coming out with $64,000 left in your portfolio at the 20th year of retirement. Okay. Social Security at 70. So here it looks a bit different. So here, actually, you've got zero in your portfolio by the time you hit that 20th year. The 19th year, you've actually got 2,500 left. So you've got to go, what's that, 5 years, you got less than you have on your 20th year at 67. So you got more at the end of 20 years withdrawn at 67 than you do at 15 years withdrawn at 70. And the reason for that is now you got to bridge your gap between 65 and 70. So you got 5 years where I have no Social Security coming in because I'm going to collect it at age 70. So every one of those years, those first 5 years, I'm going to have to take in that 50 grand amount out of my portfolio in order to reach this $78,000 number over here. And again, you got the taxes attached to this amount of money when you are withdrawing it. So it plays a big part in the tax liability as well. So again, there's things you got to look at here, and it will affect your decision. Um, I probably won't do 70 because of that reason. Um, Grant you your Social Security payment will be a lot higher once you hit 70, and you'll go from, let's just look at 70 there. You're withdrawing $14,210 out of your portfolio to hit your $88,000. Now let's look at your our age 70 here, and you're going with 19,000. So that's $5,000 more than you would have to withdraw at age 70 on your 70-year-old Social Security scenario, simply because your Social Security payment will be bigger, and it'll, again, just like going from 65 to 67. 67 is going to be the bigger payment for the rest of your life, and then go from 65 to 70. 70 is going to be bigger than 65 for the rest of your life. But these are the numbers you're looking at. Is a graph it's a visual that shows you pretty much exactly what we just talked. So 55 or 65 is the gold line, 67 is the blue line, and then 70 is the green. So this is your portfolio balance right here. So as you can see, the gold and the blue, which is 65, 67, leave you darn near the same, with the 67 being the blue that's a tad bit ahead. But these are pretty much, once you get to that 20 years, you got the same amount of money in the account. But you got here with a bigger Social Security payment when you're looking at the blue line, 67. Now on 70, you're way down here, so your money's dissipating quick. And by the time you hit that 20-year mark, you're out. You don't have any money left in your portfolio. So now you're just working on your fixed income sources, and these are what you get here. The only pro here is that your fixed income source for Social Security is more, but here you still got money in your portfolio as well. So again, I'm going to take this to my financial advisor, show him what I'm looking here, and let him tell me what he thinks, and if the way I'm looking at this is right. I am not a financial advisor. Like I say in my titles and stuff, I'm just an average Joe looking at how I'm going to be able to pull off retirement with just $500,000 in my portfolio. So that's what we're looking at here. But again, here I'm thinking 67 is probably going to be the best bet for me. But we shall see what he says, and I will bring that news back to you. So that's where that leaves us today. So that's the pros and cons and what it kind of looks like in the middle class, $500,000 portfolio range of what you'll be looking at, and what, as to how you're going to decide what age you're going to withdraw Social Security on. And I do appreciate you guys joining. I hope you like this video. I hope you subscribe to this video. And been a little busy at work lately, so I'm having trouble fitting these videos in for time. But I'm trying to make a commitment to get them in at least once a week. And we'll see how that goes as we progress. But until I retire, I'm sure I'm going to stay busy at work. Can't wait to retire, though. So we'll see what happens. And I hope to see you guys in my next video. Thank you.